everyone, you're listening to Achieve Balance with Dr. Arminta, a show brought to you to help you be healthier, happier, and more vitalistic next year than you are this year. You can find us at achievebalancechiropractic.com/podcast. And you can find us on Facebook as well. We are looking forward to helping you be healthier in your future. Thanks for listening. Now let's start the show. Hey guys, it's Dr. Arminta here with another episode of Achieve Balance podcast. And today I'm going to be speaking about a really vital topic in my opinion, and that is kids and chiropractic. And today we're gonna go back pre-baby, because I think that when we talk about kids and chiropractic, we need to talk about the health of the womb and in the environment that they are actually developing in. And so when we first start seeing a mother that is pregnant, we're really making sure that everything is functioning properly in her nervous system to ensure that the baby gets everything that the baby needs in terms of development. And we might be supplementing some things like omega-3 fish oils and things along those lines to help ensure proper brain development and proper inflammation responses with the mother as well, and making sure that she has the nutrients she needs, because she's giving so many of her nutrients to her developing infant. And so that's one of the big components, is making sure that the mother is healthy to ensure that the baby is healthy. And that goes all the way back to the father as well, and preconception as well when it comes to that. But that's a whole nother conversation and topic. We're going to stick with the moms and the babies today. When it comes to also pre-labor, pre-delivery, it's really important for us to ensure that the mother's pelvis and low back are functioning properly, specifically when it comes to a bone called the sacrum. So the sacrum is the triangle bone that's in the lower part of your spinal column, and it's the basically cornerstone of the pelvis. So your pelvis is made up of 3 bones. It's 2 iliums, which are your hip bones, and then the sacrum that's in the middle. And the sacrum, it can get misplaced or misaligned or pulled in one direction or another, which can cause a whole distortion of the pelvic inlet, which will not let the baby drop to where the baby needs to drop. And it can cause positioning issues with the infant or the fetus and within inside the womb. And so when it comes to that, we will see a lot of breached babies and breached pregnancies. And there's actually a chiropractic technique discovered by Larry Webster. Now, a little bit of background on Dr. Webster. Dr. Webster founded the International Chiropractic Pediatric Association. So people ask, is chiropractic safe for children and babies? The answer is absolutely yes. Absolutely safe, absolutely effective, and in my opinion, absolutely a necessity when it comes to developing a healthy baby as they grow into a healthy child, into a healthy adult. If we want to have a sick adult, it starts with usually being a sick child. So how can we stop that pattern, and how can we ensure a healthy adult out of our children when they grow and develop? And that's why Dr. Webster founded the ICPA, which is the pediatric wing of our International Chiropractic Association. And he actually developed a technique called the Webster technique, which helps balance that sacrum, and then it also helps balance the muscles and the ligaments of the mother's pelvis to remove the tension on the uterus, which will allow the uterus to drop on the side that's higher, tighter, to allow baby to naturally and innately go into the normal position that it needs to go into. No, this is not 100% works every single time, but if I ever have a breached baby, it is definitely something that we talk about when it comes to what the mother should do, how should we approach this, and then we get them to we do either Webster certified technique. If we're not seeing any changes, then we actually bring other eyes in of other ICPA certified practitioners to get a look of the mom as well, and to ensure that that pelvis can open up so baby can be, born properly. So that's the initiation when we come into talking about kids and chiropractic. Is talking about making sure that the mother is healthy, that the womb is healthy, and that labor and delivery is actually an easier thing, because when it comes to issues, when it comes to this labor and delivery and why children need to get checked after they're born, and in my opinion, every single baby should be checked at birth for stress and subluxation on their nervous system to ensure healthy development of not only the brain, but the spinal column, the spinal cord, and thus the body itself. And so there was a study that was done. It was done on more than 1,500 babies. It periodically, across an 8-year period, they examined babies within 5 days of being born, and there were, how they broke down the results is that they found 10% of the newborn babies had perfectly free mobile skulls and cranial bones and no stress on their system. Awesome. Like, you don't need to adjust every baby that needs to get checked. You need to check them and see if they need to be adjusted, and then we need to adjust them if they need correction. But obviously 10% of babies don't even need it, but they should still get checked. Another 10% had severe trauma to the head or to the spinal column. And those babies, they're going to know that at the delivery process. It's going to be immediate ICU situation, pediatric ICU or NICU for them, because there's some major things going on. Those are hard situations to deal with. And thank God they only happen in 10% of the traumas. But the remaining 80% have some sort of strain pattern or subluxation pattern on either the cranial bones themselves or the spinal column or cord or the system itself. And lots of different traumas happen. There's lots of different causes of birth traumas. One can be a very short labor where, you're really rocking and rolling, and just the speed of the labor and delivery and the amount of force being put on the baby's head as it's exiting the vaginal canal can be strenuous to the cranial bones and to the upper part of the neck as well. Also, a very long labor, being in the birth canal for extended periods of time, and things along those lines can really cause extra stress and strain because there's constant pressure being put. These very long labors commonly end in cesareans as well, so that's something to look at. Also, failure for the cervix to dilate. So usually when the cervix fails to dilate, they'll initiate Pitocin for that, or they're going to go directly to a cesarean section as well. The use of forceps or vacuum extraction is huge when it comes to trauma, when it comes to birth, because they're actually grabbing a hold of that baby's head and pulling it out of the mother's womb. And there's a lot of force that gets used. There's a lot of counter pull that gets used when that happens. So if your baby or yourself have ever were born with forceps or vacuum extraction, please, please, please get checked by a chiropractor to ensure that your neck and your head are functioning like they need to be. Also, when the cord gets wrapped around the baby's neck, that can absolutely cause trauma on the spine as well. And then the cesarean section, which we talked about with the long labors, the failure to dilate, or just failure to progress, or if they have any other issues, like if they have any kind of blood pressure issues, a lot of times they'll take it by cesarean or preeclampsia as well, just for the safety of the mother and safety of the baby as well. And then the assistance of the birth itself by the physician. And when babies are delivered, a lot of times the doctors are assisting the mother in pulling the baby's head out, pulling by the shoulder, pulling by the arm. It kind of depends on how the baby is being delivered, but there is usually a lot of assistance. It's not a catch situation. So when they talk about catching the baby, it means that they're really just there to catch the baby coming out of the womb, not necessarily assisting it coming out of the womb. And so those are important things to understand, that if you've ever had to deal with any of those, that you really need to get your child checked by a chiropractor. And there's some different symptoms that can come up with your children as they're growing. So if you have a young child that is having difficulty breathing, or acid reflux or spitting up a lot or colicky or difficulty nursing, a lot of times what we'll actually see them wanting to feed on one breast and not on the other breast because their head won't want to position, or they're having a hard time having that suckling, swallowing reflex that they're born with. It's an innate response. But if their nervous system is under stress, then their body is not going to be able to function at an ideal adaptability. Also, if you notice balance issues, sleeping difficulties, or developmental delays in certain milestones, I would definitely get your child checked by a chiropractor. And why do we need them checked by a chiropractor? So let's go back to that. So when we want our child checked by a chiropractor, it's not necessarily we're not checking them for the reflux or the disease, we're checking them for spinal stress. We want to ensure that the spinal column and the nervous system, so your nervous system, your spinal cord is just an extension of your brain. And then off of your spinal cord branches off all of the spinal nerves that communicate to every vital organ, cell, and tissue in your body how your body works. And that's the same as for infants as it is for adults. It's just the way that the body works. And then your brain and your spinal cord are encased in bone for protection purposes. And those bones can get misaligned. They can get stuck and fixated on itself. And then it's really important to ensure that those bones develop properly, because in the baby's first year of life, the spinal column lengthens by 50% in the first year. So that's astronomical growth. It's the fastest growth that will ever take place in an infant's spinal column. And so when it comes to that, you need to ensure symmetrical growth so it doesn't grow asymmetrically. There was a doc by the name of Hunter Volcom. I probably butchered that name, but he's got a law. It's called the Hunter-Volcom law, that bones change shape with pressure by slowing bone growth in response to pressure or compressive forces. So spinal misalignments can change the pressure gradient across one single bone, so the bone can grow asymmetrically as the baby develops. This is a very, very common cause of scoliosis as the baby grows. It's the difference between a spine growing like a very strong oak or a crooked tree. So those are some of the things that we want to really look at, is to ensure proper development in that first year, because that is also when the spinal curvature, normal spinal curvatures develop. So when we have a developing spine, baby comes out of the spine and they're all rolled up into a ball because they've been curled up into mother's womb. And so then the baby starts to get the strength to hold his head upright. And so this is why we encourage a lot of tummy time, because we're really wanting to encourage the natural development of the natural cervical lordosis is what it's called. It's where your neck has the nice forward curvature in it that acts as a shock absorber and takes tension off of the spinal cord itself. So that is the very first lordosis curve that forms whenever you're being developed. We have the kyphosis curve, or the backwards curve in the mid-back, because that's the way we developed in the mother's womb. So then the first thing that we do is we do the tummy time stuff to help with the cervical or the neck curve. And then the next step of the spinal structure is the crawling component. So we go into that cross crawl position. There's multiple reasons why we need to ensure a very good you don't rush your baby to just start walking. Encourage the crawl, because the crawl is so important for their neurological development and their spinal column development. And so when they go into that crawling position and that cross crawling position, so when they cross crawl, it means that you're opposing your extremities. So you have left arm forward, right knee forward, and then you go opposite. So that opposite exchange of the extremities actually really helps wire and pattern your central nervous system and your brain. This is why if people have had any kind of brain injuries, one of the first things that they do in rehab is they teach them how to crawl. They make them crawl because it's really good for repatterning the brain itself. Not only is that crawling important for brain development for the infant, but it's also important for spinal lordosis and development in the lumbar or the low back portion of the spine. So see, if you look at the spine from the side, there's supposed to be several curves from the side. A forward curve in the neck, backward curve in the mid-back, forward curve in the low back, and then your sacrum, which is that bone we talked about earlier, goes backwards into a kyphosis as well. And so that's really important to ensure that those bones and those curves develop properly, so the protection of the system that they protect is healthy and whole underneath. And so we find it really, really important to not only check the baby just for developmental, both cognitively and physically, but also for prevention of symptoms such as the colic and the hard time sleeping and the allergies and the immune system function, because all of those are really, really important when it comes to chiropractic care. So let's talk about immune system first, because there is a doc, her name's Candace Pert. She is a leading psychoimmunologist, and she credits chiropractic for having significant effect on maximizing the immunity because of a healthy nervous system. Because the nervous system controls the immune system, it controls the endocrine system, it controls the cardiovascular system. Every other system in your body is linked to your central nervous system. And this is why chiropractic care is so critical for life, no matter what age you are. But when children are developing, they don't have the same strong immune system that we have grown, because our immune system is grown. So again, when we talk about to parents and we talk about a growing, healthy, child, babies getting sick is part of them developing. When your child gets a cold or a bug of some sort, it's actually an ability for their body to grow. We can never grow in a state of comfort. It just doesn't happen. That statement's true for not only personal growth and self-development, but it's true for any kind of growth. Think about when children grow at a rapid age and they get their growing pains. It's part of it. Part of growing is becoming uncomfortable. And so it's hard to watch our babies be ill, but whenever they are ill, I want you to rest assured that they're actually getting stronger in their weakness. And I think that that's so important to understand, is that when you see them where they're adapting to a virus or a bug of some sort, that they're actually overcoming it, that they're actually beating it, that they're actually being stronger than that. And that's how Mother Nature put things in place. And I would encourage all parents to work with this symbiosis of Mother Nature instead of the dictation of the symptoms. It's not the symptoms are a bad thing. They're just an offshoot of what happens when your body's adapting to overcoming them. So healthy immune system and chiropractic are very much linked with one another. Also, and the last thing that I want to talk about here is the safety of chiropractic and children, and getting your baby checked and corrected if necessary. Is it safe to get my baby adjusted? And this is so common that people will think that we're going to go and put a really hard thrust into a baby's spine. Checking a baby and checking an adult are significantly different. So the way that we talk to parents about it when we check it is, number one, it's more of a tonal adjustment. It's more of a pressure adjustment instead of a thrust adjustment. And we're using the amount of pressure that you would check the ripeness of a tomato, or if you put pressure on your eyeball, that's about the same amount of pressure that we would be putting on the subluxated segment of the baby's nervous system or spine to help the nervous system. And they did a study, and it was the adverse effects linked to chiropractic care are really virtually non-existent. And in the study, they estimated that 1 in 250 million pediatric visits. And then there's not one single medical procedure or pharmacological intervention that is safer than that. And I want you guys to hear that again. There is not a pharmacological or medical procedure that is safer than chiropractic care. Chiropractic care is the safest way to ensure health of your child and your infant naturally. And so it's really important to make sure that you get them checked. There's also 2 major studies in chiropractic and infant colic that show that over a period of 2 weeks, that 94% of the babies adjusted by chiropractor and showed successful ratings, and that 25% improvement after the first adjustment itself. So if you're having troubles with your new infant, or you just want to ensure your baby or your child healthily grows into a healthy adult, then chiropractic care is the key, because we just talked about the infancy aspect, the first year aspect. What happens when we start to walk and we're falling down all the time, or we're riding bikes, or we're falling out of tree houses, or we have emotional stress of school, or we are getting exposed to the amount of chemical stress in our food and our nutrition, or our lack thereof nutrition. Because remember, subluxation or stress on your central nervous system is caused by physical, chemical, and emotional stressors. It's not just the physical component. And so we encourage you to get your child, no matter if they are a brand new infant, because I know that's what we spent the majority of our time on, but no matter what stage they are in their life, to get them checked by a chiropractor to ensure a healthy nervous system, thus a healthy body, thus a healthy life. And so we really encourage you to do that. If you are not in the mid-Missouri area and you're not able to come to our office and get checked, then we encourage you to call us and let us help you find a chiropractor in your area that will check and treat your child for interference on their nervous system to ensure healthy development and healthy growth as it comes. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us and ask. If you want more information or studies, we would be more than happy to provide those for you. And we hope you have a great day. And remember, healthy spine, healthy life. So get your spine checked as soon as you can. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Hi guys, Dr. Arminta here. Thank you so much for listening. I hope today's episode brought you information to help you eat better, move better, think better, and take care of the true root of your health issues. You can find us online at achievebalancechiropractic.com/podcasts, and you can find us on social media as well. We look forward to having you here the next episode, and we look forward to helping you create a healthier future tomorrow.